welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming a Hoya haul for you guys. So I wanted to show you some of the new Hoya that I've accumulated over the last month. I am all cozied up today because I had to turn my heat off in order to film this video. My furnace went out last week and I had to get a new one, which is about 100 times louder than my old one, which seems weird. I feel like it should be quieter, but it's fine, that's where we're at. And to cope with having to get a new furnace, I have been attending to new Hoya cuttings and such. So I thought it'd be fun to show you guys the Hoya that I've picked up recently. I have 9 to share with you today. Some are cuttings, some are plants that are already rooted, but I figured we'd just get into it and talk some Hoya. So let's start with the first 4 that I got. One of my local Hoya suppliers here in Indiana, she had a purge. Everything was $20 or under, which I think everything that I got was either $15 or $20. So it was a great deal. She had so many cuttings and it was a lot of fun, and I am glad to have gotten my hands on some of them. So let's just go ahead and jump into the ones that I picked up. I'll also try to have some B-roll on the screen so you can see them a little bit better. I know the lighting isn't quality. It has not been sunshiny here in like 2 weeks. I don't know where the sun is, but it's not in the sky anymore, and it's very sad. So we're just dealing with some overhead lighting, some natural lighting at like 10 a.m. where there's no sun in the sky. So we'll do the best to show you in detail, and starting with the Hoya callistophylla that I am so excited to finally own. I've wanted this one for so long, but it's just never presented itself as an opportunity for me. I like to buy my Hoya local. I've only ordered a couple of mystery boxes from the Hoya house, but I've never ordered from anywhere else online. Frankly, I'm a little terrified to order plants online. But in this purge that my local seller had, she put this fully rooted Hoya callistophylla on there. It had another leaf, and okay, back up a little bit. She had it listed for $20, and I was like, steal, let's do it. It's a huge plant. It's fully rooted. It was in stratum when I got it. We'll talk about that in a second. And I was like, yes, sold. And it also has a peduncle, and it's starting to grow another peduncle, which might die off. We'll find out. But it had another large leaf on it, and she messaged me the day I went to pick it up, and she was like, okay, I accidentally knocked one of the leaves off. I'm so sorry. And she gave it to me for $10 instead. So this is a really great deal. It also had 2 more baby leaves up here, but I am a dummy, and I let the plant acclimate for like a week, and then I moved it from stratum to soil because I don't understand how stratum works, to be completely honest with you. And when I did that, 2 of the leaves fell off. This one did not fall off though, and it's still hardening off. So there's hope that one of them will survive. So overall, this plant was a lot bigger in the leaf department, but she knocked one off. I knocked 2 off, but it is currently giving me some hands up here and a peduncle. So I have hope for this plant. Eventually, I'm probably going to chop it up and make it a little bit more fuller and less leggy like this. But for $10, I thought it was a great deal for a Hoya callistophylla. I don't see them here often. I know that they are here, but I like I said, I like to buy local. So I was waiting for the perfect opportunity, and this one seemed like that. So I'm very excited to have that one in my collection. Let me give you a bit of a close-up. The leaves are just so cool. I love the veining. Oh, it's way better in person. Everybody always talks about it, and I am very excited for it to bloom because I really like the flowers on this one. They're like pink. I love pink, and they're just cute. It seems like a lot more condensed of a peduncle rather than one of the hanging ones like my Hoya lacunosa or something like that. So I'm excited to just experience this plant as a whole. And like I said, I think it was a great deal. So I'm happy to have that one. And then on that same purge, she posted, this is the last plant that she posted, and I swooped in and I grabbed it. She had this one posted for $20, and this is a Hoya multiflora albo marginata, and it has a peduncle, which I'm probably going to lose. It's definitely starting to yellow. One of these leaves is starting to yellow as well, but this is a thin-leafed Hoya. I heard about it first from Miro of Basie Plants. You guys know who I'm talking about if you're into Hoya. He is like the king of Hoya in my opinion. I learned so much from him. But he was talking about this one, and he always talks about multifloras and how he loves them. And I wasn't that into just the green one, but when he showed the variegated one, I fell in love. So when she posted this one, I immediately was like, sold, got it, it's mine, coming home with me. And I'm so glad I did. Like I said, it has a peduncle, which I don't think is going to make it. This plant has not rooted at all yet. I've had these for a couple of weeks, so I'm not surprised because it's colder. I do have them under grow lights and I am rooting them in water. So we're just hoping for the best. I haven't lost any leaves yet. They still feel quite nice. This is not a Hoya that I would recommend getting shipped to you, as it is a very thin-leafed Hoya and I don't think they ship very well. That's just my opinion. Definitely, if you want to buy one online, you go ahead and do you. There's the peduncle. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is starting to yellow, so I do think I'm going to lose it, which is not a big deal. I always buy Hoya for the leaves because I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get them to bloom, to be honest. It's not my priority to be like, you have to bloom, and doing everything I can to get the plant to bloom. It's more, I like to look at them and watch them grow, and if that growth involves flowers somewhere down the line, I'm very open to welcoming those into my house. Like right now, my Hoya retusa flowered for the first time. It's the cutest little leaf and I'm so happy. But I love the plant itself. Yeah, I really like the leaves on this one. They're like thin, but they're very waxy feeling. And so far, like I said, the leaves still feel firm. I'm grateful for that. I do not want this to die. This is probably one of my favorite ones that I'm going to show you guys today. I'll probably say that about all of them because Hoyas are great and I love all of them. But yeah, my Hoya multiflora albo marginata. Don't have a whole lot to say, but I'm very glad. Totally was not expecting to get this one. She did post like a picture of all of the plants that she was going to be posting in the purge, just so you could get a little sneak peek, and it wasn't a very great picture or anything, and I don't even know if I remembered seeing this one. She told me that she cut it at the last minute, so I'm not sure that she actually even showed it. And the next plant that I got from that same seller was the Hoya deykei, and it's a one-leaf cutting. When she posted that she was going to be doing the purge, this is the plant that she had like in the photo to grab your attention. And one of the other local people that is in the Hoya community here had asked if she was going to be selling a cutting of the deykei, and she said yes. And I was like, okay, well, I've never really wanted one, so I'm not going to try to buy it. And because I knew he wanted it because he said that he was hoping to purchase it. And so when she posted it, I didn't comment on it, and he did. So I was so happy that he was able to grab the one that he wanted. And then the very next one she posted was another Hoya deykei cutting. And when I saw the photo of it, I was like, okay, I do need that cutting. And this one was $15. It was a single node cutting, and it has not started to root yet. It had some aerial roots. That's what that looks like. But yeah, this is the Hoya deykei. It is a very Hoya carrii shaped leaf, in my opinion, very heart leaf shaped. But it kind of gives me Hoya callistophylla vibes with the veining. It's got some splashing, some sun stress. Overall, this is probably one of the prettiest Hoya that I have in my collection. Seriously, I don't know how well the camera is going to pick up how gorgeous the sun stressing on this is, but I'm so into it. And I cannot wait for it to grow. The splashing is incredible. The veining, the sun stress, the shape of the leaf. I feel so lucky to own this one. I'm trying to see. No, there's no growth point coming in yet. Obviously, I mean, it's not rooted. The leaf still feels very thick and as it's supposed to. So I have high hopes that this one is going to really take off as soon as the roots start coming in. And I just cannot get enough of it. Like I said, wasn't going to get this one. I had no interest in the Hoya deykei before, but when I saw it, and then when I saw it in person, I was so glad that I jumped on it and grabbed it. And I think it was a pretty good deal. I don't really know the prices that Hoya go for other than what people sell them for in my community. I don't generally like look up the prices of Hoyas since I'm not ordering online. I'm only trying to get what I can get here. And I feel like a lot of times people here have very fair pricing on their Hoya, but the leaf on this Hoya deykei just feels really nice and smooth on the back. It's a little bit cup shaped toward the back. Here is a shot of the back as well if you guys are interested. But I'm just really excited. I can't wait to get this one in a pot, and it's gonna look so cute in a little terracotta pot, maybe a ceramic pot. We'll see what happens. But that is the third plant that I got from this seller. And finally, the next one I'm gonna show you is a Hoya kaimuki, I believe that's what it's called. I had never heard of this one before this purge, and when she posted that photo of all the cuttings that she had, I immediately saw this plant. She had another cutting of it, and it was like a chocolatey brown red color, and I was like, I need that. I have no idea what it is, but I need that. and she posted the original cutting that she took, and the person that got the other deykei commented on it before, at the exact moment that I did, but his was first, so he got it, and I was so excited for him. But she did end up commenting back to me and said, I can do another cutting for you if you'd like, and obviously I said yes. But the cutting that I have is more of a mid-cut, so for my cutting, the top part is the one that she sold to him, and then I got the cutting under that. So my leaves are not a chocolatey brown color. From my understanding, they come in a very chocolatey brown color and then fade to green, which is pretty common for Hoya to come in like a coppery sort of color and then turn green as they're supposed to. The leaves they are slightly thicker than a Hoya australis in my opinion, but they give me that same sort of vibe. They're quite ruffly on the ends, at least this one is, and some of these, which are very cool. But overall, it's got this long vine, and I really like it. It's super cool. This leaf has a little bit of discoloration, she said, from when it was coming in and the lighting. It got a little bleached on the end. Totally fine with me if my Hoyas have imperfections because they're plants. And I mean, I have imperfections, so I wouldn't expect a plant to not. I just really like the leaves on this one. They're super thick. They have not rooted. This thing has not rooted yet, but the leaves still feel great as well. So I'm not worried that anything is taking a turn for the worse just yet. It would make me feel a little bit better if some of these cuttings did start to root. But again, we're going into winter and it is much colder in my house, especially in the room that my Hoyas are in. But a lot of them are loving it. They are growing like crazy. It's just getting them to root. It's taking a little bit longer than I'm used to. But the Hoya kaimuki, I do recommend you guys looking at if you see one in person because it is super unique. The leaves are a little bit larger, as you can see. I would love to get this on a trellis once it does root and I can get it potted up, just so it has a little bit more stability, and hopefully I can keep these leaves big because, you know, once they come into an environment after being a cutting, the leaves can get a little bit smaller, and I want to make sure they stay as sized up as possible. And I really cannot wait for the new leaves to come in and have that Hershey chocolate brown color to them. So I'm very much looking forward for this one to start growing. And I'm excited to have Hoyas that I didn't even know about in my collection now that I can share with you guys if you didn't know about them. Just like the detailing on this Hoya, like you're not going to be able to catch it on this camera right now, I'm sure of it, but there's lots of veining and lots of lines, almost like reptile skin. So I really like that. I really like the ruffly edges of these leaves. The flowers are really cool as well. So yeah, Hoya kaimuki. And that is all that I got from that plant purge. And then I think it was a couple days later, my local plant store here in Evansville called Kiwis, she actually got a shipment of more rare, uncommon plants, especially for our area. So it had a lot of philodendrons and a lot of monstera albos and things like that. But she also got a ton of Hoya in. And the shipment came early, so I was so excited because it was supposed to come and be put out on the floor on a Tuesday. But it came on a Friday or Saturday, and the plants were put out on a Sunday. So I was able to go and snatch one of the plants that I really was looking at, which is obviously a Hoya, and it was on my wish list for a while. So I was glad that the shipment came early and I was going to be able to go because it was a weekend. So I got there on the Sunday. They open at 12 on Sundays, and I got in line. There were like 5 people in front of me. When they opened, we all went in, and we were all so polite to each other. Most people went straight to the Hoya, I'm not gonna lie, so it was a little overwhelming. It's a pretty small shop, but I managed to find what I was looking for fairly quickly. I went around one of the ways, and it was on a random shelf. They had some extra Hoya that didn't fit on the main shelves, and that is where I found the Hoya sigillatis. Excited. This one's been on my wish list for a while. It's always just looked so pretty in photos and in videos. I'd never seen it in person before I got this one. So I snatched it up. I actually snatched up a different one. There were 2 of them. She had 2 of these. The other one was much smaller than this one. And then I looked up again. It was not even, it was like at eye level, if not a little higher. So I was like on my tiptoes, and I saw this one, and I immediately put the other one down and grabbed this one. And I'm very happy with my choice. This one was a lot fuller. It has some active growth points. The soil mix itself even is just gorgeous, but the splashing and the sunstress of the new leaves that are red. It's just absolutely a stunning plant. I love the way that it drapes and grows, and I'm excited to watch it take off. Hopefully come spring and summer, it'll just be a nice full plant. But I was standing there looking at all the other Hoya, of course, because I was like, if I'm here already, I might as well look. And somebody asked me, she was like, where did you get that one? And I was like, the other one is right over there, you better hurry. So she snatched it up, and these two were the first two Hoya gone. So I feel pretty good that I got my hands on one. I'm so grateful because I really wanted it. And it was about $30. So a great price, in my opinion, for a 3-4 inch pot of Hoya sigillatis. These names are crazy, and my mouth already cannot form words. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. It's a pretty popular Hoya, I think. A lot of people have this one, or they are always trying to get it. So I'm excited to be one of the people that was able to get our hands on one. But while I was standing there perusing through all of the other Hoya that they got, I was like, oh, what is this one? It was sitting next to the Hoya sigillatis, and I had never heard of this Hoya at all. But the way that it grows is so cute. I just love the way it hangs nicely. This is a Hoya flagellata, if you guys can see that. And I'm convinced that this is related to a Hoya caudata because it's giving me caudata vibes. I have a caudata, and it looks pretty similar in the shape of the leaf and even the texture. But this one is quite fuzzy. I'm hoping that you'll pick it up in the B-roll that I shot already. It's quite fuzzy on the leaves, and it does ring different to me. I did watch a video by Nero on this particular Hoya, and he said that he is convinced that they are two separate plants, but a lot of people do say that the flagellata is in relation to the caudata if they're not the same thing. But he agrees that he thinks they're different plants, and I agree too, because they do have slightly different characteristics. I'm excited to see both of them bloom because I want to see like what the difference of the blooms is. Obviously I can look at photos, but when you see something in person, it's way more exciting. So I think this could have relations to the caudata, but it is a Hoya flagellata, and I think this one was like $15. I felt like that was a fairly fair price. I also have been saving my points at the plant store, so I had $10 off, so I got a really great deal on these two plants, and I know that they still have some of the Hoya remaining. I may have to go back and look at them sometime, maybe this weekend, we shall see. Again, I'm coping with having to put in a new furnace. That was not a fun purchase, let me tell you. But yeah, the Hoya flagellata, I don't have a whole lot to say. It's not growing just yet. There is active growth on the end, but I think the two baby leaves dried up, but the growth itself is still growing, if you will. So I'm excited. This isn't my normal soil mix, so I am having to understand it a little bit better, but it is a very nice soil mix in my opinion, so I'm going to leave it in here and into these little pots because I don't want to keep repotting plants in the wintertime. It causes me stress. So yeah, I'm very obsessed with the leaves on this one and how they're kind of fuzzy. I'm constantly like looking at them, and it seems pretty happy so far. So I'm happy to own that one and to see it grow. But let's go on to the last three Hoya that I got. On the same day that I got those two from the plant store, I decided that I wanted to get rid of some of the cuttings that I had been holding on to for like trades and stuff. So I usually do this thing like where I'll post a porch giveaway where I'll just stick them outside, and whoever wants to come get one will just ask me for my address. And the day that I got those plants happened to be a pretty nice day. It was like 55, 57 degrees. So I was like, all right, it's perfect. So I made a post on Facebook, told people to come get whatever they wanted. I had just a bunch of random Hoya cuttings. And one of the girls asked if I still had the rotundiflora cutting that I was getting rid of, and it had already been claimed by actually my local Hoya supplier. She asked if she could have that cutting, and I said, yeah, I'll drop it off to you, because she's always so generous to me. So somebody had messaged me and asked if I had that cutting still, and if I would be willing to hold it so she could pick it up. And I said, unfortunately, somebody had claimed it, but I'll take you another cutting. So I cut her another cutting before she could say, no, don't do that. And she was so generous. She asked if I would be wanting to trade something, and I told her no, I didn't want to do that. But the day that she came to pick up, she brought me some Hoya cuttings anyways, which was so kind, and I was obviously very excited to accept. But the first one that she brought me was the Hoya Iris Marie here. It's just a 2-leaf cutting. I had heard about this Hoya, but it had never been on my radar really. There was one plant purge where somebody had this and I did regret not getting it. But now I'm glad that I didn't because I have this gorgeous cutting. So this is a Hoya Iris Maria. The leaves are similar to a Hoya australis in my opinion. Again, to the thickness of them. Actually remind me quite a lot of the Hoya kaimuki in the texture of the leaves, in the thickness of them, as well as like the texture of them. I just now am realizing that. That's actually pretty cool. But they give me similar vibes in that way. This is an unrooted cutting as well, and these leaves apparently sun stress really nicely. So I'm excited to see how this baby grows. I think it's gonna have a really delicate growth pattern that I'm gonna enjoy, and I think it would be really cute on a trellis if I'm visualizing this plant well. I can't wait to see the new leaves come in because I also believe that they come in a little bit coppery, which I'm into. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. This is a Hoya Iris Marie. I think it's a pretty easy one to find. Not sure. I had heard of it, but I had never done any research on it until I got this one. The next cutting that she brought me is one that I actually already have. So I'm going to add this one into the pot of the one that I have once it roots. I'm pretty confident that they probably came from the same place because I've gotten them both locally. And I know a lot of the Hoya sellers here trade, but this is a Hoya crystal, which I believe is a cross between a Hoya carnosa and a Hoya pubicalyx, if I'm not mistaken. It's just really cute, adorable, has some splashing on the leaves. It literally looks just like my other one. These leaves are a little bit on the thinner side, more like a pubicalyx, if you were asking my opinion on that. I'm not the best at describing these things, I'm gonna be honest. But it does have another new leaf that's coming in. We'll see if it lives. We'll see if it grows any bigger than this, because again, this is unrooted, but it should root up pretty nicely, I hope, and I'll be able to make a fuller pot with my other Hoya crystal, which to be honest is already pretty full, but who cares? I don't mind adding this one to my collection. I've definitely showed you guys that plant in some of my other videos, so I don't have a lot to say about this one, but it is adorable, and I'm happy to own it, and I do recommend it to anyone who is into Hoya carnosa mixes. Hoya crystal is a good one. It's so cute. The leaves. When I got the first one, I was so excited to own it that I was excited to have this one equally. Okay, and the final one that she brought me a cutting of is actually a seedling. She told me that the succession name of it, if that's what that's called, it's a Hoya Rick RM274. I don't know anything about this one. I have tried to look up things about it. It's a seedling, like I said. She got it from one of her friends. It does have active growth here, and then 2 beautifully long splashy leaves. Like, I am excited for this one to age and mature because, like I said, it is just a cutting of a seedling, so it's got some maturing to do. The leaves are still a little bit thinner than I imagine the actual Hoya gets. I don't know a lot about seedlings. I do have other seedlings in my collection that I know very little about as well. But I'm excited to grow this one out and see what happens with it because it really is stunning. I love how long these leaves are. Seriously, so cool. I have cut one of my other seedlings that I have and it's grown fine. So I have hope that this one will also grow fine, considering there is already a growth point on it. I think that's going to be very helpful. But I was actually really excited to have this one. It's so cool. I just love the shape of the leaves, the color of the leaves. I'm excited for it to root up so I can pot it up and just see where it goes because I honestly could see this one being one of my favorite Hoya in my collection. It's got veining. Again, I'm really into elongated leaves, so I'm very excited to see what happens with this one and what it shapes into. If you guys know anything about the Hoya Rick RIC, let me know because I am interested to hear more about it and to learn more about it, so I can know what to expect. But I had a really hard time finding information out on this particular Hoya. I suppose I could ask the girl if she had any more information, but I don't think she did, considering she was like, this is what I have about the name. So I think we're in the same boat. We both love it, but we don't know anything about it. All right, and those are the 9 Hoyas, I think that was 9, that I've added to my collection over the past month or so. I was really excited and antsy to share these things with you guys. Now, if you're not here for the planty content that I've been posting a lot more of, I do have some knitting videos planned that are very exciting. I think that you guys will enjoy them. So stick around. Those take a lot longer to produce, as knitting is a lot more of a strenuous process than showing you a plant cutting or plant care, something of those sorts. So they are in the works. They take a long time to produce, as I said. So I will have more knitting content coming soon, but I hope you guys enjoyed the planty content as well. If you did, leave a comment down below on what kind of planty content you want to see next. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more random content. Bye!